Welcome back to the Infinity Travel AZ Studios. Today I have Richard back with me from AmaWaterways. Hi, Richard.
Hey, how are we doing, Cindy? Good to be back.
Yeah, it's nice to have you back. Today I'm very excited because Richard's going to tell us about Egypt and the Nile River with AmaWaterways.
You've got it. You've got it. I can jump right in, Cindy, if you like. There's a lot to
Sure.
share on Egypt and the Nile. Great. So thank you, everybody, for taking time to join us today. There's a lot to share on this particular destination. We actually just announced this product April of last year, and I can tell you it is by far the quickest, most requested product right now. Egypt and the Nile River, it's actually a combination of some land as well as a cruise. So it's a total of 11 nights. So I think I'm just going to move right through. I'm going to go off camera. I'd love for you to just look at the beautiful imagery that I'm going to show you, then I'll hop on at the very end also. So again, thank you once again. Let's move right through here. And let me go off camera for just a bit. There we go. So this is just a quick overview of where this particular itinerary travels, Secrets of Egypt and the Nile. So what's included here? First of all, we do include pre and post packages with all of our cruises, anywhere that AmaWaterways travels, but specifically with Egypt and the Nile, we've included this. So this isn't just something optional. This is going to be included for you. It's 3 nights pre-stay in Cairo at the Four Seasons Cairo, beautiful 5-star property. Then you have your 7 nights on the AmaDahlia. We'll look at some beautiful ship renderings because the ship is not completed yet. It's going to be a brand new ship. Then there's a post night also included in Cairo. And then we've got some wonderful options for you as well. And we'll be sure to cover that too. I'll try to be mindful of the time. Some of this is going to be a little bit of a slideshow. Some other images I'll stop and share just a little bit more.
Sounds good.
Okay. Here we go. So this is a look at Cairo. I'm not sure how many of you may have been to Cairo. I mean, the history of this city, founded back in 3100 BC. The Egyptians actually left one of the most glorious cultural legacies. I think anybody would agree, especially anybody that's visited there. Just a magnificent history. You can see it all along the shores of this legendary river. The Nile stretches more than 4,000 miles. It is actually the longest river in the world. The exact distance is actually 4,132 miles. It's actually longer than the Amazon by a few miles there. They set along these fertile banks here, established one of the world's most fascinating evolved civilizations, complex belief system, inexplicable rituals, brilliant artistry, ingenious feats of engineering and innovations that really have changed the course of history. They're also responsible for the 365-day calendar that we use today. So lots of history here in this particular town. But let's take a look at the ship, right? So the AmaDahlia, it's going to be a beautiful 68-passenger ship. Now, one thing that's unique about the Nile River is that you cannot just buy a ship and place it on the river. And they do it for very good reasons. They don't want the river being overcrowded with a ton of different vessels. So you actually have to buy a ship if somebody's selling it. So that's what we did. We bought a ship, we stripped it down, basically, to just the framework, and we're building it back up AmaWaterways style, if you will. So there's going to be 10 standard staterooms, 24 suites, and then all the amenities that you would expect from an AmaWaterways ship. And I wanted to share just some of these other renderings that you can see as well too. So this is really what the top deck is going to look like. A beautiful pool right there. There's 2 cylindrical things that you see there just behind the pool. Those are going to be outdoor showers. You have a nice little sitting area, covered deck behind that. You certainly need. It's going to be warm to hot when you're visiting here. This next slide is going to be a look at the lobby. You can just see how beautiful that is. I mean, just looks like you're walking in a beautiful 5-star lobby right here.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, and then we also have a look at the lounger. And the lounger is really sort of that place that's kind of like the living room on board the ship, meaning everybody goes to hang out here. This is where you come back and share your stories from being out during the day. We have evening entertainment here. Maybe it's some discussions from your cruise manager on the next day's ports of call. Maybe we bring on some local entertainment like a Galabea party, or we're going to host our cocktail party here. And then we're going to even have like a belly dancing show that we bring on board too. So this is where a lot of fun comes on board the ship, and just a place to socialize and meet some other guests on board as well. Here's another look at our restaurant that we have as well too, where In every one of our dining areas, we're going to be serving premium drinks, beers, and wines. And they actually do have some local vineyards in the area, but they aren't very large or plentiful. So their wines are actually mixed with South African wines. We're going to bring that experience on board as well, in addition to a lot of the local cuisine from the area.
Nice.
And then here is a look at what one of the staterooms is going to look like. This is one of our category SB or SA. So a queen or twin bed layout upon request. We've got air conditioning, of course, which is going to be important. Comp Wi-Fi in the stateroom and throughout the ship. And then this next picture here is just kind of a different look at what that sitting area is going to look like also. We'll look at what one of the bathrooms would look like, that nice marble tub there. We've got the kind of that floating toilet seat there, the nice sink here, beautiful large window, the marble throughout the mirror, and then the marble throughout the bathroom. But then we also wanted to make sure that I was showing you the Four Seasons Hotel. So this is actually where we will be staying for the first 3 nights. You're home away from home. And this is actually located just outside of the high traffic area, because Cairo is a hustling, bustling city. There's, I forget how many millions and millions of residents there. So we're going to be within close proximity, but just outside where it's a little bit quieter. This property has a number of wonderful restaurants to choose from. If you want to get a massage, you can enjoy the spa. From the room, you'll be able to have a nice view looking over the pool and even getting a partial look at the Nile River from there as well.
Wow.
And then, of course, because it is going to be probably quite hot, you definitely want to take some time to cool off in that pool as well, and then take advantage of some of the other amenities that I shared.
Wow.
But I know you want to hear
Beautiful hotel.
It's a gorgeous hotel, right? So 3 nights here on the front end and then a follow-up on the post end here. So next day, we'll actually head over to the Egyptian Museum with its 120,000+ artifacts on display. This is home to some of the greatest and richest artifacts that have ever been unearthed, including the King Tut's death mask that we're looking at here. Beautifully made of solid gold, discovered by Howard Carter in the Vale of the Kings, dating back to 1922. King Tut was king from 1332 to 1322 and was actually just 19 years old when he died. He became king when he was 9 years old. So for 10 years, he was actually the king of this amazing dynasty. Afterwards, we're going to venture over to this really cute, bustling, and colorful 14th century Khan el Khalili for lunch at the famous Naguib Mahfouz restaurant. There's a number of cafes here, and this is actually going to be a beautiful cafe that we get to go for our guests. This is exclusive for AmaWaterways guests, and this is going to be included. But this area right here, this was built at the 10th century and goes back generations and generations. A number of local artisans and craftsmen and just other residents who go here to conduct business, to sell different things. We'll get a chance to experience that. Then on day 2, we're going to discover some of the true wonders of the ancient world at the UNESCO designated ancient capital of Memphis, which includes a number of exceptional monuments. Here we're going to have an opportunity to visit the huge statue of Ramses II, the Alabaster Sphinx, and necropolis of Saqqara, site of the famous step pyramid of King Zoser, the oldest pyramid on Earth and model for successive pyramids. And then we're also going to see the Great Sphinx, of course. This is iconic here. The Giza complex. So this is actually these large pyramids in this particular area. Some things dating back to 2589 BC, 2500 BC. Built for the pharaohs Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. So we're going to get some really thoughtful time to visit here, because we like to really make sure that things aren't rushed for you. Our key is to always let you take in these highlights and then give you some free time also. Wow. Then we're actually going to conclude that evening at the Mena House. This is a historic palatial hotel based in the shadow of the Great Pyramids of Giza. This was built in 1860 and used to be used as a hunting lodge for many of the Europeans that would actually come down here to hunt some of the wild hippos and crocodiles and some other wildlife. It's a beautiful 5-star property. We're going to enjoy a wonderful lunch here on that day and that evening, or later, kind of midday that day. And then Luxor. So this is actually, we're going to be boarding our cruise. So Luxor was formerly known as Thebes, the capital city of the new kingdom, actually, of Upper Egypt. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site also. In fact, on a number of our AmaWaterways trips, we're going to be visiting these UNESCO Heritage Sites. So this is where we'll actually start and board the ship. And then we'll continue on One of the things that we'll get to do there, though, actually is to have a late afternoon visit to the Temple of Luxor. This was constructed over hundreds of years by Amenhotep III, Ramses II, Tutankhamun, and other pharaohs as well. So this is not just within the dynasty of one king. It was literally a number of different dynasties, considered one of the world's best preserved ancient sites, and much of it still exists as it did centuries ago. So we're going to include a walking tour here, typically about an hour and a half or so. Definitely want some good walking shoes because there's not going to be too many places to sit down on this particular visit. Let's see, continuing on here. So next we're actually going to visit the Valley of the Queens. So this is home to mummified remains of more than 30 queens and princesses, including Nefertari's tomb. Queen Nefertari was King Ramses' first wife. She was just 13 and he was only 15 when they were married. And it's said that she was one of Egypt's most beautiful queens, as well as being very educated. So this is something that we'll actually include for our guests. This is something that's unique. Some other river cruise providers or even tour operators that go through here will include this as an optional, but we do include this for our AmaWaterways guests.
Nice.
Yes, absolutely. And then here's just another look at it. So Nefertari's husband, Ramses II, one of the most powerful, longest reigning pharaohs, built this tomb for his wife, Nefertari, one of the best preserved and most eloquent paintings of any Egyptian burial sites. And it is really, you could say, the Sistine Chapel of Egyptian history. The paintings
amazing.
Right, yeah. They really depict Nefertari's journey after death to the afterlife, guided by various guardian spirits and deities, including Isis, Hathor, and Osiris. The tomb was discovered in 1904 and really quickly became world famous after its discovery. Wow. So we'll have that option to stop there, take in some of those beautiful paintings. Continuing on, some other highlights, the city of Edfu, best known for one of Egypt's most remarkably preserved temples that we're going to visit here, dedicated to Horus, the falcon-headed god, built in 230 BC. It's the second largest temple in Egypt, also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, with walls that display compelling details about the religion, the language of the country's Greco-Roman period.
Wow.
Yes. And then sailing along the Nile River too. So I mean, this is where we're going to just continue on, taking some wonderful sights here. One thing also that a lot of people aren't really aware of is that a lot of the temples, the burial temples, were built on I believe it was the west side of the river, and it was basically because this is of course where they would bury them. They had since died, and this is of course where the side that the sun would set. So that's where we're going to find the temples as we sail along the Nile River. One thing that we actually will take in is a really peaceful ride in a felucca that we see right here. And this is just a traditional Egyptian sailboat. We're going to take this to the really colorful Nubian village of Hessa. And this gives you an idea of how colorful those villages are. So
oh, wow.
A lot of these different things that we see painted and even kind of placed along the side of these buildings speak to these individual families' history. And so tell some different stories of their specific family history. And just again, you can see just how colorful they are. We're going to have a chance to stop at one of the local spice markets, have lunch there with some of the local Nubians. And then I wanted to be sure to include this next AMA Insider tip. There is a chance to stop at Abu Simbel. You don't want to miss this. This is the only optional that we include here, that's not automatically included. But Abu Simbel, if you do sign up for this, you're going to take an early morning flight to Lake Nasser. We're going to discover, again, another UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is over 3,000 years old. It was dedicated to Ramses II, one of the most active of the pharaohs, along with the smaller temple dedicated to the Queen Nefertari. The front of the main temple has actually got these 4 gargantuan statues that we can see here, Ramses II on his throne. Each of these measures about 70 feet high.
Oh, wow.
It was discovered in 1813. And this is a real amazing engineering feat also, because there was a dam that was actually built right here also. And then that actually formed Lake Nasser. And Lake Nasser was actually about to completely flood this temple that we're looking at right here. So the only way that they could protect it was by carefully disassembling this entire temple, moving it 600 feet up the side embankment here to be able to protect it. Wonderfully created. And then there's actually 2 times a year where when the light shines on it, it's actually going to go right through that temple door that we see right there, clear out to the other side too. So 2 times a year. I think one date is in February, another one is in October.
Wow.
And then we're going to also continue on our cruise to the Great Temple of Kamombo, where these soaring columns dramatically rise above the Nile River. Unique in Egypt, this temple is dedicated to two gods: the crocodile god Sobek, who sits on the right, and then the falcon-headed god Heroes, the doctor, as he's known. So we'll get a chance to experience this also. Continuing on, the Karnak Temple. So we're going to have the morning here, cruising back to Luxor. We're going to explore the Temple of Karnak, the largest religious complex in Egypt, one of the largest in the world, covering about 200 acres. This vast network of columns, hieroglyphics, sphinxes, colossi, even a lake actually that we're going to be able to see here, built over the course of 1,300 years. It's just overwhelming. 80,000 laborers took part in this creation here during the 19th dynasty alone. Despite its rich history, the temple lay hidden until the 19th century, and the effort to restore it actually continues to this day. So we're going to get a chance to visit there, and then we're going to officially, in this part, we're going to disembark the ship here in Luxor, fly back to Cairo. We're going to be able to make a stop at the Abdin Presidential Palace, considered one of the most luxurious palaces in the world. It's home to 3 museums. We're going to get a chance to visit some of that. And then this is actually where the president resides as well. So we're going to do what we call a farewell lunch. Normally it would be a dinner, but because a number of the flights back to the States will leave early the next morning, we wanted to make sure that we were thoughtful of that time and how early some people are going to have to get up the next day. So we're going to kind of officially conclude here, but you get to still have a little bit of time to mingle with some of the other guests before officially departing. And then during the afternoon, we're also going to include some additional visits here. The Mosque of Muhammad, also known as the Alabaster Mosque, which is majestically sitting atop the citadel of Saladin's courtyard. And then again, just some other things here. There's a hanging church, the Ben Ezra synagogue. Let's see, the church of, you have to forgive me with some of these names. Mawalaka is the other church we'll get to visit. So I'll stop trying to say some of those names, but we're going to have kind of a final opportunity to visit some of the amazing things around here. And then that is hopefully just give you a pretty good overview of what this is going to include. And I will share that this is the most popular one right now. I think I mentioned that we launched it officially April of last year, and it officially began sailing September of this year. And we are already probably about 80% sold out on those departures through the end of the year, going well into 2022. So this is when you want to add to your list. Definitely book far in advance.
Oh, wow. That was so amazing. I can't even imagine seeing that, any of that up close and personal. It must be just overwhelmingly magical.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, kind of to kind of finish on that note about just being able to witness this, it's not a short trek, right? To fly all the way to Egypt to take this in. That's why we've included the 11 nights where this pre and post are included. But for those guests that really want to explore more in the area, we've included some additional options on top of this, Cindy. So if somebody wants to spend an additional 4 nights, we've got a package in Jordan that will include a number of things there, such as Petra. There's also a 3-night pre-option over into the UAE. And then on the back end, a post option to visit Israel for an additional 4 nights. So you can really take in a lot there with this particular visit.
And why, excuse me, why would you not want to? Like you say, it's a long flight down there, and to be able to see all of that would be just absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
So you said what was the cruise ship? AmaDahlia?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The AmaDahlia only has 64,
I believe. Yeah, 64 guests maximum, I believe.
64 guest max. That's awesome.
Right, very intimate.
And the first set of rooms or suites that you showed us, those were like with ground level windows, or is everything above water?
Yeah, those were SA and SB, so those are actually going to be above water. Yes.
They're all correct.
Right.
Are all of the rooms above water?
There is actually a lower stateroom that is slightly below water too. I forget the exact category that we have for that. I believe it's a C or D, correct?
Okay, all right. Just absolutely amazing.
Right. Absolutely. Right.
Oh, oh, wow. So I'm just kind of in La La Land right now after seeing all that.
Yeah. Just so much history to see here again, which is why it's been, been so packed with that. And then again, you're going to have that amazing AmaWaterways service the entire time with their cruise managers. They're incredibly knowledgeable. I mean, they're going to know the area, be able to point you in the right direction. So that's something that's kind of standard with every AmaWaterways cruise. So we're going to take that same experience and just place it on the Nile River.
That sounds awesome. My dogs are going crazy. Somebody must be at the front door, and I normally ignore them, but they're just going Cujo right now. I'm sorry.
No worries.
At any rate, that was awesome. Again, thank you so much for sharing all that information with us. And we will look forward to our next one. We don't know the date yet, but it's the beginning of March, and we're going to do the Mekong River, correct?
Right, right. And then I think we discussed as a follow-up that to do some focusing specifically on the UNESCO heritage sites, like the top 10 between the Rhine River and the Danube River.
Oh, that'll be awesome. So hopefully everybody will be back and join us in March for the Mekong, and then April for the UNESCO heritage sites. Thank you again, Richard. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day.
Thanks so much, Cindy. You too. Thanks everybody for joining. We appreciate it.
All right. Take care, everyone. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.